Minister, I invite you to take the stage.
Bonsoir à tous. Hi, everybody. Well, I will speak in English, but as you've seen, it's not my favorite language. I might sit with you. It will put us in a more comfortable way to discuss. Who are the entrepreneurs in the room tonight? I am an entrepreneur as well, so. All the other who are from the public sector. That's great to have as much public sector agent and as much entrepreneurs. So tonight we're talking about mobility, and that's quite a very important subject to me and for our government, because if we say that Europe and the world is going through two major transformations, it's digitization and the transformation and the revolution of environment. And mobility is at the heart of two of them, at the heart of the two. If we had to define mobility, we can say that mobility is the process of moving a person or a good from a point to another while using the least possible resources. Resources that could be money, that could be energy, that could be use of the public space. And if we look at all the projects that were presented today, we can see that you have tackled lot of these elements. Some of you are taking the large picture, some of you are taking one sector within this picture, and some of you play as an add-on, you play as a key player on a key specific place. Our role as government is to be sure that this innovation happen, and there are no way to plan them. It's the old way of seeing transportation. That's how we moved from transportation to mobility. When we were dealing with transportation, we were able to make plans on a 10-year basis, plans on a 20-year, 30-year, 50-year basis. But with mobility, we are open to innovation. We are open to see solutions that we, the government, we, the innovators, couldn't see right now. So what is our role, and why was I here today in Brussels? I was here to prepare the field for you. I was here to do what government can do for entrepreneurs, is to let them be entrepreneurs. So this morning, I was with Mr. Moedas, and we talked about how do we finance and how do we help innovators throughout Europe, and how do we, and that's a thesis that we have in France, a thesis that we share with Europe, how do we build at the regional level with a European impact? How do we mobilize local ecosystems with the European market? And thinking this way is the way, is a way that we had to build and to create these new champions. So how do we help grow this local ecosystem? And as soon as we develop this ecosystem of entrepreneurs, how do we help some of them, not all of them, how do we help the successful one to grow faster in Europe, to grow faster in the world? And that's the question of going from startups to scale-ups. And this question of scale-ups is very priority for the European Commission and for the French government, is how do we build champions that are ready to tackle world challenges. Tonight, today, and during this competition, and I want to thank the organizer and I want to thank you too for inviting me, you have solutions that could go on a very high level and that could reach the world. I wouldn't comment all of your projects, but on each of them I could see a great scaled solution that could have a real impact. After seeing Mr. Modas, I had a meeting with Maria Gabriel. With Maria Gabriel, who's the Commissioner for Digital, we're talking about standards. And standards, they are really important for mobility, but they are also really important for everything we're doing with big data. They are really important with everything we're doing with artificial intelligence. How do we share information? How we share them in a protective way? And how that we're sure that in Europe we are staying competitive and we are creating a welcoming area for innovators like you to create data, to use data, and make it in a responsible way. The way we see all this transformation is between a balance between performance and humanity. Performance means that we will do our best to have the most performant and innovative startups and companies happening and working on the European territory. But at the same time, we will look at consequences and the impact of people. And mobility is quite great because with mobility, when it's performant, it has a high impact on environment and it has a high impact on the life of the citizens. So when we win on mobility, we win on every subject. When we win on mobility, we win on democracy, we win on health, we win on a lot of subjects. That's why tackling the European, the transportation mobility area is a way to demonstrate the high impact of what digital can do in our lives. Just before coming, I was with Andrew Sansip, and with him, we had a long talk on how can we accelerate. And the question for us, and Mr. Commissioner, it's a question for you all the time, is how do we accelerate our companies and how do we accelerate the rhythm of the European rhythm to be sure that we will not be surpassed by other continents, and how we are sure that no startups could say in Europe, we were not able to make it in Europe because in Europe it was too difficult, so we had to leave. And we want, that's a new sound, we want to be sure. I took the first train this morning. I want to be sure every single entrepreneur here tonight is able to say that we did it because it was in Europe, we did it because we received the financing we needed from the private sector, from the public sector, and it was from Europe. We were able to create data, to use data, to value data, and we did it because we had a strong digital single market, a strong digital mobility market, and to me, I put mobility at the first place in the digital friend strategy because if we win on mobility, we will win on other subjects. So you can count on our support. The Commission is here for that, but each government is here for that. I'm not supporting especially the 3 French who were pitching tonight, but you were great, and your government likes you. But the 2 others, you were great as well. I love all of you, but I'm not a commissioner, so I really prefer the 3 French. But still, my only job is to make Europe a perfect ground, a perfect field for you to demonstrate your talent. So thank you again, Karima. Thank you again for everyone. You are doing great things in a very beautiful place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, State Secretary Mahjoubi.